welcome. Technolog with Jessica Lee. I'm here with Joe Hill, who's the SVP of Sales at Zebra Technologies. Hi, Joe. Welcome to the show.
Nice to be here. Thank you for having me.
I'm delighted that you're here because I get to learn so much about your company, the industry you're in. I actually did not hear about your company before, so it's wonderful that you can share with us. So why don't you explain a bit more about what Zebra Technology does?
Yeah, it's one of the best kept secrets, but
Yes.
we're very proud of what we've accomplished in a segment of the market, which you would probably know best as the barcoding market. So Zebra started 50 years ago as a company that invented many of the technologies around barcoding. The labels that barcodes are printed on, the printers that barcodes that are used to print barcodes on labels, but then also more recently through some acquisitions, the readers that are used to scan barcodes, and mobile computers that then use that information read from barcodes to direct workflows in enterprises.
So I've been using your products all along, and I had no idea when I go grocery shopping that I do the self-checkout, right? And
if you go into a grocery store, if you receive packages through the mail or through a courier service, if you're in a hospital and you get a wristband,
that's right.
right? Those are all Zebra technologies and products, and we have over 40% market share in this area. So chances are you've used a Zebra product in any one of those cases.
Well, it's amazing. It's like a $4 billion company, headquartered out of the Midwest, and you've managed to kind of dominate. I mean, it seems to me like it's like a vertical play where you've got hardware, software, it's like really an integrated approach to the solutions.
That's actually the step of development that we're in the middle of right now. So the initial piece of our strategy, which started, the current strategy started 5 years ago when we put together the different parts of the hardware solution, the printer, the scanner, and the mobile computer, by acquiring a large part of what was at that point still Motorola Solutions. And we acquired the scanners and mobile computers from Motorola Solutions to put them together into this company that you have today. That was still primarily a hardware company. And the evolution that we're in the middle of right now is that most of our customers are looking for us not just to provide hardware, but to provide a solution to a workflow. And that requires, as you said, software and services.
Yes.
And so we're increasingly, either through acquisition or through partnerships or through our own development, adding those layers to the solution and building out what our customers are really asking for.
And what they're asking for, let's pick an example, a warehouse, maybe making it more efficient, looking at how you can automate, right?
Yes. So a very traditional warehouse operation would be one in which a person has to go and pick items from a shelf and put them in a cart and then take them to a truck from where they would be delivered. Now, in the past, this would have typically been a pick list that would have been printed out, a piece of paper that person would have, which would show the locations of where they have to go and pick up their items. Nowadays, a warehouse worker would have a mobile computer that has the information on a screen that can be dynamically sent to the worker, and the worker can then also acknowledge the pick by scanning the item once they've picked it up, which increases the accuracy, of course, without requiring a lot of manual writing.
That's right.
Right? And then the workflow can be further optimized because with that mobile computer in hand, we know exactly, or the company that owns the mobile computers knows exactly where the worker is in the warehouse. So you can now optimize the workflow of that worker and increase the accuracy of the task. That's a good example of where our products and solutions are used today.
You know, I think that automation is something that's talked about a lot, and then companies are looking for ways to automate any task they can. But I think that it's something that workers are maybe finding it to be a bit of a concern, but at the same time, it's a relief to get more robotic help, especially the repetitive tasks. Can you address both sides, the concern and also the augmentation of the workforce?
Yes, and we see this all the time, and it happens in ways that are probably very visible to us already, but we don't necessarily think of them as automation. For example, think of the last time you were in a grocery store, right? in a grocery store, one of the tasks that is highly manual is the checkout process,
Yes.
right? So you've collected all your items, and you need to somehow count them and capture the pricing of them and then pay for them. Now, as an alternative to the traditional cashier lane with a cashier in them, you already find in many grocery stores today self-checkout options. In a self-checkout option, there is no individual there, or typically there's one person there who will supervise, let's say, a cluster of 6 checkout areas. So that significantly improves the productivity of that person, right? Instead of 1-to-1, it's 1-to-6, right? And there are other solutions that are even further out there that show you sort of the path towards automation. For example, not very popular in North America, but in Europe, very popular is what we call a personal shopping assistant. This is a mobile computer that you can pick up at the entrance of the store. We make those, for example. Some stores also allow you to use your own mobile phone to do this. And what you do is, while you are going through the store and picking up items, you scan each barcode item yourself.
Okay.
Right? If you think about it, if you're checking out in a self-checkout, the store is already trusting you to scan each item.
Right.
Why do you have to scan them all in one place? Why not while you're picking them up?
Right.
This means that by the time you've picked up all your items, all you have to do is present your scanner or push a button on your mobile phone, and you get your bill and you leave. Right? So would you think of that as automation? Not necessarily, right? But you can see how that now significantly improves the productivity of the people that are in that store. And that's, I think, the way in which automation will continue to advance, is that we'll see more and more of these technologies where humans and automated solutions will coexist, and the automated solutions will make the humans more and more productive.
And as far as the concern with job security and all that, I think you brought up a good point earlier when we talk about having the opportunity for jobs in configuring the automation or even repairing the automation.
Look, I mean, automation has been with us since the Industrial Revolution. And what has it done? Has it decreased the total workforce that we have? Our total workforce today is significantly larger than in the Industrial Revolution. Why? Because new jobs have been created. So yes, some of the tasks that are being automated will no longer need a human attention as they are today, but new opportunities will be created, some of them directly in the workflows that we're doing. For example, someone has to set up and configure these solutions that I talked about, whether it's the personal shopper or the self-checkout solutions. And in fact, we have and employ many of those people who are now doing this and creating and deploying these types of solutions. So in the big scheme of things, we're talking about a transformation of the workforce, not an elimination of the workforce.
Okay. You know, I think that in your role, you have so much experience doing enterprise sales, and you worked at big companies like IBM, Avaya, and before that you came out of the consultancy business. And I think the audience would appreciate hearing about maybe your suggestions on how to approach the solution sales.
Yeah, so there's a number of changes that have happened in enterprise selling that I think are important. One of the more significant ones is the idea of solution selling, which is essentially the fact that our customers are saying, it's no longer good enough for you to bring me a product and sell me a tool that I will then use to address a problem that I have. I expect you to understand my problem and to bring me new and innovative solutions to that problem, which may be the products that you have, but it may also be products that others have. And it also involves typically services and software capabilities that surround all of those. So I expect you to bring all of those to me. And now this requires a new type of go-to-market capability with capabilities in the own sales force to recognize those types of problems and to be able to interact in a consultative way with the customer such that they can appreciate and then assimilate that type of solution. It also requires partnerships So one of the things that is significant about Zebra is that 80% of our sales is done with partners.
Yes.
And those partners add a critical component to the solution sale because they often have capabilities, on-site capabilities, or customer relationships, or technology capabilities that complement ours to provide that complete solution to the customer. And finally, the solution sale also requires new organizational constructs. For example, as many more solutions are sold as a service as opposed to a one-time product sale,
Yes.
we are deploying significant numbers of people that will ensure the customer success, that often known as customer success managers,
Yes.
who work with the customers to make sure that they are deploying and using the technology and the solution in such a way that it brings real value to them, because only then will they renew and continue to work with you.
Yes, yes. I want to ask you specifically about the apprentice program, because I think that's something that I don't hear about when we talk about sales training.
Right. So if you think about how do you now build a capability within your own sales force in order to do some of the things we just talked about, you realize that many of those things are not taught in any academic forum that we know. There's no class in school that teaches you about solution selling, for example. So one of the things we need to do is to somehow create that kind of capability in our sales force of the future. And one of the steps that I'm particularly fond of, mostly because I grew up that way as a consultant, was the concept of apprenticeship, in which you learn from others who have been doing this for quite a while, and you watch them do it. And as you watch them do it, you then try it. They will help you. They'll give you feedback. They'll tell you what you should be doing differently. And as you do it and learn about it, you get better and better. And that concept of apprenticeship is, I think, a very powerful one.
Normally, when you say apprenticeship, people think of like, oh, a 3 months program. But you mentioned that this is an ongoing learning attitude in the whole career of sales.
Yes, I mean, all of the things that I've been talking about have been evolving continuously, and they will continue to evolve, right? This journey that I described towards automation, it will continue to evolve for the next 10 years and for most of the career lifetimes of the people that we employ. And therefore, the concept of apprenticeship is not one in the traditional sense where you spend 3 months, you watch somebody, and then you're able to do it.
Right.
But it's something that you do on an ongoing basis. And this means that both the people that we hire, but also the people who are hiring them, the managers, have to change their mindset and their viewpoint. Because as a manager now, you have to be that mentor, you have to be that role model that the apprentice can learn from, and that is an ongoing process. So you have to be out there in the field with your sales teams on an ongoing basis to play that role for them. And that's a very demanding role for a sales leader to have, but an exciting one too. It's one of the things that keeps me engaged and excited, and I think all those who love doing what we're doing today, not just in our company, but in other technology sales organizations, that's one of the things that excites them, is that they get to be able to do that now.
Okay, so last question has to do with innovation and looking ahead. I know that the company's in the middle of this transformation, acquiring company, putting solutions together. So what is exciting ahead for you?
Yes. So we're very excited about where things are going. First of all, because on the technology side, there's still so many new areas that are evolving and that are enabling the workflows to become ever more productive for our customers. Good example, I already mentioned things like automation technologies, but that goes even further than, let's say, a self-checkout. There's the example we discussed earlier, into robots that might assist humans in a warehouse. It goes into computer vision, the ability to recognize objects. If I could recognize what's on a shelf, I don't need to read the barcode label anymore. It goes into things like RFID. RFID is a form of product identification that I can read in large numbers without having line of sight to the product.
Right. So long distance.
Exactly. So I could have an entire room full of garments, for example, and with a single reader that's on the wall or in the ceiling, I can see all of those products, not only at once, but in real time.
Right.
So the technology opportunities are very significant. But the big opportunity, I believe, for us is that in the confluence of these technology changes and the strength that we have as a company. Because the strength we have as a company is not just that we invented the barcode 50 years ago, is that we have a very intimate understanding of those workflows of our customers. I gave you some examples at checkout or in the warehouse. And there are many others in hospitals and manufacturing facilities, but also in public service, right? When for our first responders, for example, they all use these types of technologies too. We understand those workflows, and if we can put that understanding of of workflow together with these technologies, there's just a universe of solutions out there that is yet to be created and invented, and we're in the best position to do that. So that's very exciting.
Including the location-based technology for the NFL?
That's right. So there's another workflow we haven't talked about. So we are the official locationing provider for the NFL, which means that during every NFL game that takes place in the regular season, we track all the players on the field in their location in real time. And that data is actually available. Everyone can see it. There's a website that you can go to, and you can see the tracks that all the players are running, every single play. And if you ever see something called Next Gen Stats, which is usually in one of the replays, you'll see the statistics, how far someone has run, how far they've thrown, and so forth. All of that is based on locationing technology that Zebra provides to the NFL.
Well, this has been a great conversation, Joe. Thank you so much for being on the show.
It's my pleasure. Thank you.
There you have it, folks. Take it up with Jessica Lee, Joe Hill from Zebra Technologies.